Sugar Bowl preview, Washington, Texas. Very exciting game. Two high-powered offenses in this one. We got, what is this? What are you doing with the hands here?
It's a Longhorn in the Washington.
Oh, nice. Okay. Why doesn't that look natural for you? You look like you're really stressing for this.
Yeah, I don't. I
Do
kind
you
of
have some
disappointed.
large fingers?
I do have large fingers, but also like, what are the I think my ligaments aren't as strong as they should be in my hands.
Hmm. I don't want to get like too weird here, but you have some very, can I see the fingers again? I feel like we got some like Slender Man fingers going on.
Well, that's crazy 'cause I got very small hands.
Oh, so it's more just about like this part is tiny, but then
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's like a proportion type thing.
Got it. Okay, good to know. Anyways, do you think Michael Penix has big hands?
Yeah, you seen that guy grip a football?
I mean, good football player. We like
He
Michael
could
Penix.
he could crush a grapefruit with his hand.
So you're in love with Michael Penix. You're in love with Washington football. I don't know if that's because they housed Michigan State earlier this season or what. They essentially are the team that closed the book on the Mel Tucker era in stylistic fashion. Sorry. Washington's really good. I love watching this offense. Michael Penix is awesome. I think he should have won the Heisman Trophy. They also had some trouble in Pac-12 play with like teams they should not have been in dogfights with, and nobody wants to admit that because it was like at 10 p.m. Eastern and barely anyone was paying attention to the Pac-12 network. It was a little dicey. I'm glad they got here because I really like this team. I love Penix. I enjoy watching them. But I'm a little scared what happens when they face like a dog team. And I don't know if I think Texas is a dog team, but what they did against Alabama was certainly one of the best teams in the country. So let's start there. Like, do you think Texas is one of the best four football teams in the sport of college football?
I personally don't. I don't like. I think Georgia's a better football team than Texas is. Like to me, if I'm ranking these four teams that are in the current college football playoff, I think Texas is the weakest team. I think that win at Tuscaloosa early in the year is carrying a lot of weight.
Well, so how do we say Texas is a worse team than Alabama?
I mean, well, they played Alabama like earlier in the season when this wasn't the same Bama that they were earlier in the season. Um, I personally don't think that Texas has necessarily gotten better, to be honest with you, throughout the season. I think they've been a really good team. Don't get me wrong, but I've also seen this team struggle a little bit. When we talk about Washington struggling Pac-12 play, it got a little dicey at times for Texas as well. I mean, they ended up coming out on top. Not and probably wasn't as dicey as the Washington games, but it did get dicey at some points. And they lose their starting running back, still got talent on the team. The defense is really good. Texas is a really good football team. Do not get me wrong. But at the same time, like you're giving me Michael Penix, you're giving me Romeo Duzier, you're giving me Dylan Johnson. I love Kellen DeBoer. Like this is something about this Washington team I won't be able to shake. The fact that I can get Washington +4 and Washington plus money, I'm throwing it out there. That's what's going to happen, and I will ride with that, and I will feel good about that. And I think there's something to say with a lot of people probably expected Oregon to be in this spot. Like they expected Oregon to win in the Pac-12 championship and beat, Washington. They were favored heavily. They expected that team to win. I believe the spread was what, 9, was it,
Yeah, it was
in that
crazy.
game?
It was crazy.
Yeah. And Washington came out in that game and they got the win. And they come to this game as an underdog once again, still having one of the best quarterbacks in the country and one of the best receiving corps in the country and just one of the best offenses in the country. And, you know, when I look at Texas going up against some of the better offenses in the country, I mean, me and you both watch what Dylan Gabriel was able to do to this Texas defense. Like you're
Yeah.
telling me Michael Penix can't do that same thing? I don't know. I for some reason I just can't help but side with Washington in this game.
Yeah, it was the Oregon stuff was weird, and I think the Oregon games have made me supremely confident in Washington because if they were not who we hope they are or we think they are, then they don't take care of business in both those games. Like to me, Washington controlled both those games. It wasn't like a up in the air what's going to happen here game. It was like, no, Washington's the better football team. And I don't know what everybody missed. Like Oregon had a great season outside of those two games, but um I don't know, man. I think anytime you can get this Washington team, they sort of feel like the team of destiny. Anytime you can get them at plus money, it has felt like there's some value. Texas, I think I would just push back on you saying you don't think they've gotten much better. Texas certainly is much better at the end of the season than they were in the Oklahoma game. That was one of you and I's biggest betting wins of the season when we were cheering on Dylan Gabriel via FaceTime in a legacy drive. Great moment for us. I was heavily invested in Oklahoma to win the Big 12 this season. Didn't work out because it turns out Texas is a seriously better football team than Oklahoma is. Like they're very good. They're very complete on both sides of the ball. Quinn Ewers is a guy who can single-handedly win you a game. And I know he didn't get like the Heisman love, like he didn't get the accolade stuff in the way that Penix did. I think Ewers is kind of a big game dude who's going to be reveling in this matchup a little bit, and I think Ewers is probably the more pro ready. Like if we were betting on one guy to be an NFL star quarterback one day, I think it's Quinn Ewers pretty easily over Michael Penix. And this offensive system at Washington is awesome; it's explosive. There's a chance that Ewers throws for like 420 yards and 5 touchdowns in this game.
Can I say something that might come back to bite me, but I feel confident in saying it?
Sure.
And I want to ask you first. So Quinn Ewers, he scares you?
Yes. Especially
Okay.
especially in a game where individually people are higher on the other quarterback.
Okay. And I appreciate I acknowledge that take, and I'm not saying that take is wrong, but I'll say this. I don't think that there's anybody on the offense for Texas that scares me. They got good players. No one scares me. Michael Penix scares me. Romeo Duzier scares me. Dylan Johnson scares me. I don't think any of the other Texas, they have good players, don't get me wrong, like Xavier Worthy, like really good. Quinn Ewers, really good. Really good football team. They don't scare me.
Yeah, I think you're doing the Dallas Cowboys CeeDee Lamb thing where you're like CeeDee doesn't scare me, and then he has 190 yards receiving and a
Yeah,
touchdown.
212. 212.
That's just something about you and like Texas star like Xavier Worthy should scare you. That guy's a dog.
I mean, yeah, like
I
he's
think that guy's the
good.
best receiver in this game, like pretty clearly.
Oh, stop it. Better than Romeo Duzier? Stop that.
I would love to see Xavier Worthy in the Washington system. I would love to see. I think there's a lot of
We're doing the system player thing.
I think there's a lot of Iowa offense, Iowa Hawkeyes basketball offense to the Washington football offense. I do.
So you got Texas -4.
No, I have Washington money line,
Okay, all right.
but that's only because I can't. Like, I'm not going out like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, okay.
But I think acting like Texas isn't a threat and we're not afraid is crazy. Like
Oh
I'm
no,
betting.
they're a threat and they're good. You can be a
Yeah,
threat, but I'm not afraid of you.
I'm betting Washington money line, and I'm terrified every step of the way. With that said, if Texas Alabama rematch is the national championship game, I can't bet Texas money line fast enough. I just want to say that. So
What?
everybody's acting. We just did the video. We're acting like it's Michigan or it's Alabama. Cakewalk to the title after that. Isn't there a pretty big element of like Washington, Oregon round 2? If Texas gets Alabama round 2, Texas would open up as 9 to 13 point underdogs. I'm sure. I bet the line's already out. I haven't looked, but like they're going to open up as dogs in that game, even though they dogged Alabama in Tuscaloosa the first time. Like, I wouldn't write out. I'll say this. I think Washington is my pick to win this game, and I hope they do because I'm rooting for them. I love them. I think that Texas is the only team in this game that can win the national championship.
So you think they just have Bama's number?
No, I don't know what it is. I don't think Washington's thing, for lack of a better word, I don't think Washington's thing will work against a team that is definitely a better football team on both sides of the ball.
That Michael Penix bow and arrow touchdown to Romeo Duze to go up 14 with only 3 minutes left is going to hit like straight crack rock.
I
And
hope
I'm
it
going to be
happens. I hope it happens for us, my friend. I truly do. All right, that's Carter Elliott. I'm Greg Waddell, Sleepers Media. We do a lot of college basketball previews and recaps on the channel. If you're familiar with us from that, great. We are trying to do more sports as well, working in some college football, maybe some NFL playoffs, some NBA at some point down the line. Click subscribe to the Sleepers Media channel so that you don't miss any of it. And good luck, Huskies and Longhorns. Which one are you going with? You can only give one hand signal to end the video. Which one are you going with? Need a W.
Husky up.
Jameis Winston. Good night.